Evening guys, it's Rich here, aka the Chatty Chat. So tonight I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to do a bit of a live stream and it's a Q&A session around swimming. So you might have a question about open water swimming, performance swimming. It might be that you're brand new to swimming, you want to do a triathlon, you want to know the best way about going about learning. So yeah, tonight's all about you guys. Fingers crossed I'm going to get some people watching so I can get some comments up on both these devices so I can answer some questions. I've got some questions that people have asked me already. So feel free to start asking questions. So it doesn't matter whether you're a competitive swimmer, triathlon swimmer, open water swimmer, swimming for leisure, you might be new to swimming, you might have kids that you want to help that are struggling in the water, you want a bit of advice on that. Perhaps you're a teacher, you've come to a point with a group where you can't take things any further, and you've got a question about that, then feel free to ask. Right, so we'll start with a question I received from Jess from Northampton. So Jess's question was, she was asking about bilateral breathing. Why is bilateral breathing really, really important, and is it necessary? No, it's not. It really comes down to what you're swimming and what distance you're doing. So, sprinting, for example, you want to break the stroke as little as possible. So I'm referring here to 50 metres, you might get away with it over 100 metres dependent on your lung capacity, so on and so forth. So if the question was from a sprinter, do I need to bilaterally breathe? The answer would still be no. What I would say is try to breathe as little as possible, particularly if you are a performance swimmer, you're going for the top end of things, you're going to be doing 24 seconds sub for 50 metres front crawl. Try and get through that 50 metres breathing as little as possible, but so it's still comfortable. The last thing you want is on that last 10 metres that you go into some sort of deficit. But in saying that, to be fair, if you are hitting 23 seconds for 50 metres front crawl, you're only using sort of ATP still, so on and so forth. Most people that ask me this question are either triathletes or open water swimmers. Now, my answer to a triathlete or an open water swimmer when they say, do I need to bilaterally breathe, is no, you don't. In actual fact, I would encourage you not to bilaterally breathe. And the reason behind that is this. Now, first, it's important to understand that yes, you do need to be able to breathe on both sides. So that will allow you to keep a level stroke and to keep things even. But you don't have to do that with a 1, 2, 3 breathe, 1, 2, 3 breathe pattern. You can do that through unilaterally breathing. It just means you need to change up which side you're breathing to every now and again. The reason behind this is if you're swimming over an extended period of time, you're working aerobically, predominantly. I mean, almost 100%. You do still go into anaerobic systems, but predominantly you're working aerobically, particularly in triathlon swims and open water swims. So because of that, you're working with oxygen. Now, to restrict breathing to every 3 breaths could end up being more of something that goes against you more than something that works for you. So let's say that you've got a really slow arm cycle. It's going to be particularly bad for you because you're going to go into oxygen deficit far quicker than somebody who's got a faster turnover rate of their arms. So I say to my swimmers, yeah, breathe every second stroke, get into a rhythm, but every now and again switch sides. So you might do 3 minutes on your left, breathe into your left, and then 3 minutes on your right, breathing to your right. But in response to her question, you don't need to breathe bilaterally. I advise against it for long distance swimming. breathe unilaterally, so breathe every 2 strokes. When you train on both sides, breathing every 2. Keep it even, but when you're racing, it's going to be far more beneficial if you breathe unilaterally. So, bilateral swimming, no, it's not a necessity. Really depends on what the distance is what event you are doing, whether it's sprinting a long distance. But particularly with triathletes and open water swimmers, I personally, as a coach, think it is far more beneficial for you to breathe unilaterally. Just keep it even. So just keep swapping sides. Right, so next question I was asked by John. John's from Kent. John asked, he's heard on the grapevine that you need to swim on your side like a fish. Now, without trying to step on anybody's toes with answering this question, that's complete and utter rubbish. And I'll explain why. So first and foremost, fish don't swim on their sides. I think there's one type of fish that does swim on their side. I have no idea what its name is. But fish don't swim on their side just because they look really, really flat when they're going through the water. This is the underbelly of a fish. Okay? It has an underbelly, so it's on its belly. Ask a fisherman, they'll tell you. So fish don't swim on their sides. They're shaped and they've evolved to move to be a certain shape in the water, which is beneficial for them. We are not fish. We are not shaped like fish. You don't swim underwater either. So comparing a human being to a fish, in my mind, is blooming ridiculous. Fish spend their lives under the water. When you're swimming, you're doing you're on the surface. You're not under the water. You're not above the water. You're on the surface of the water. So different dynamics come into play. So John asked, should he be trying to get his stroke so he's swimming more on his side? The answer to that, John, is no. Everybody will do this differently, and everybody will find the best way that works for them. But without going into too much detail, something that you have to work with in swimming is upthrust. So the water acting upon you to lift you. Now it does that through reacting upon sort of your surface in the water. So imagine my hand here is the swimmer, and you're swimming through the water. Now, as you're moving through the water underneath you is lifting you slightly. So it's allowing you to move more fluidly through the water. As that water's going underneath, it naturally lifts you. As soon as you start to over-rotate to this position, you have less surface area in contact with the water. So first and foremost, if it's going to push you anywhere, it's going to push you that way, because now the water's acting upon you that way. And secondly, your body's just going to drop because there's less of the bottom of you or your stomach in contact with the water. So as soon as I do this, my body does that, and then you roll again, it comes back to here, and then it drops again, and you're consistently doing that. Now I'm just doing that with my hand, and I'm not. I mean, I'm out of shape, but I can feel my arm getting tired. So swimming on your side like a fish is massively inefficient. You want to, when you swim, there is rotation in the shoulders. So as you go to breathe, you're going to naturally rotate. You want to reduce that movement as little as possible. The benefit of the rotation of the shoulders is to increase power output. So you work diagonally across your body. So as I enter the water, I rotate, and I use that slight rotation to increase my my power output into the water. Again, as soon as you over-rotate, then you're putting your power into the wrong place. So, when you're swimming, imagine again this is your body in the water. You want to make sure that you're rotating about so much. Anything more, anything past this point is going to be unproductive. So when you're swimming, you want a natural rotation that feels comfortable, but you also want to make sure that you're getting that up thrust from the water that allows you to maintain a steady and strong stroke. So, John, try and swim like a fish, because fish don't swim on their sides, they swim on their belly. So yes, do try and swim like a fish, but don't listen to the garbage you've heard about fishes swimming on their side. Google it, how many fish swim on their side. Swim like a fish, swim on your belly, have a controlled, gentle rotation that allows you to increase power output, but don't over-rotate. You're going to make it more difficult for yourself. It's going to balls up your breathing as well. You'll find that more difficult. So yeah, don't swim on your side. Next question was from Margaret. Margaret's question is in relation to getting over the fear of water as an adult. So I've taught hundreds, it's got to be 900s, of adults that are scared of the water. Now, it's something that takes time. It's not going to happen in an instant. A fear is a fear. I'm a swimming coach. I'm not a psychologist, but I've got, through working with people that do have fear of the water, I've developed a little bit of a methodology. So, first things first, it's understanding the fear. So, fear of the water is very general. What is it that you fear? Is it being under the water? Is it drowning? Try and be more specific with your fear. Try and figure out exactly what it is, because then it's far easier to deal with. A lot of times, a lot of adults that I've taught, it's been something that they continuously negatively reinforce. So it could be they had a bad experience and then they keep thinking back to that, and they're consistently sort of figuring or marrying up a bad experience with water, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So what I try and do, and what I explained at the beginning, or I did explain at the beginning of all the sessions, was this is going to take a period of time. This is a process, and every session we are going to work towards positively reinforcing that relationship with water. It's very rare that you get somebody that's scared of the water that just jumps straight in and boom, yeah, no more fear, brilliant. So the first thing I'd advise you to do is swim or go to a swimming pool with a friend. Go to a swimming pool where you can stand up, where you can find your feet in quite easily, and if you can, a swimming pool that's not too big, something small. Leisure pool in a gym would do the trick. And just start with, even if the first session is you just get in the water, you stay near the wall and you go around. If you've got somebody there with you, you can have a laugh and a joke, and you can think about other things besides that fear of the water. But go in there with somebody, the first time you get in, even if you're just popping your feet in, shimmy around, get used to the feel of the water, get used to being in the water. You might do that for the first 2 or 3 sessions. From that point, and with the use of your friends, you then want to start, you don't have to take your feet off the bottom of the pool. you want to start submerging more of your body. And what I always suggest to do first is to, if you can get your friend to go behind you and sort of create a pillow for your head and lay the back of your head into the palm of their hands. You can keep your feet on the floor, but just get used to the back of your head being in the water, your ears in the water as well, because sometimes that can be a big no-no for a lot of people. So get used to that back of your head in the water, ears in the water, and just get used to that feeling. I always, when I'm teaching, imagine yourself lying in the water with a tropical beach somewhere, close your eyes, try and listen to the water, and imagine you've got a cheeky little cocktail, or if you don't drink, a nice little summery drink, and you're just laying there enjoying the sun, enjoying the rays, and just relax and really sort of focus around normal breathing and controlled breathing. Breathing can have a massive impact upon how you feel. So if you're explosively breathing, it relates psychologically, it relates back to panic, increased heart rate, which is going to have a negative impact. So when you're in the water, really work on that breathing and breathe slowly and controlled. Deep breath, breathing out. Try to breathe normally. If you're struggling with that, go with meditative breathing. It'll just help you relax, and that's what you want to aim for. When you're at a point where you can lay your head back, your friend's got their hands there, and you feel absolutely comfortable, at that point, now again, you can do it near the side of the pool, so you've got something to hold on to, or you can do it in the middle of the pool, entirely up to yourself. At that point, you're going to start to try and lift your feet off the bottom of the water, bottom of the pool. Now, to help you with this, because you're probably, when you first start doing this, are going to push against it, you're going to lift your head up, which is going to drop your legs. To help you with this, make sure you're doing this with your friend, keep your head in the hands, push your head into the hands to a degree, and ask your friend to sort of slowly and gently pull you backwards. And as they're doing that, just relax your legs and allow them to lift to the surface of the water. So all you've got to do is relax your legs. As soon as they start moving you, your legs will naturally lift. I was talking about the flow of water underneath you and how it pushes your body up. That's exactly what's going to happen. So build on that. Get to a point where you can just, with your friend moving you around the water, you can just move around with you and feel comfortable like that. So that again could be 2-3 weeks. You could have done all of this in 3 weeks. The next part is going to be the difficult part. So it's still on the back. I always start on the back because it tends to be the easier way of building confidence. After that point, you're then going to try and float on your back without any assistance. So again, start off with your friend, have your friend close by, do it near the side of the pool if you want to, if you feel safer. But as you're going around, get your friend to gently move their hands away. Now the trick at this point is not to do anything different to what you were doing previously. You don't change what your body's doing, so as soon as those hands come away, you do nothing different to what you were doing previously. You continue to float and lay and relax. Don't do anything differently, because as soon as you start trying to do things differently, that's when your body's going to drop and you're going to panic again. So as your friend's moving around, the next stage would be for them to slowly remove their hands. And when they're doing that, not think about the fact that the hands are moving away, just relax, just chill, just carry on doing what you were doing before. If you can do that, you'll start to understand how your body works. You would have built up an understanding before this, but you'll start to understand better how your body works in the water and how the water wants to lift you and not drop you. So at that point, you then probably, once you're confident doing that, you can get yourself into back float position, you'll then want to move on to submerging your face into the water. I get people to start this off at home in the bath, getting used to their face being submerged. Do it at the side of the pool, hold on to the pool, place your face into the water, get confident with that. Once you're confident with that, that's where you can still do it at the side of the pool, but then start to lift your legs. Again, same principle as when you're on your back. Keep everything relaxed and allow your legs just to raise to the surface. They will naturally want to do that. And yeah, just work on that, and then once you're confident with your face in the water, your legs are lifting, start pushing yourself away from the wall and just let yourself float. Now we could go on, and then we could go into developing stroke, front crawl, movement through the water, but the whole point of the question was that, how do I improve my confidence? If you can get yourself to that point, you have built an amazing base for you moving forward with whatever you want to be doing with swimming. It may very well be that you're a father or a mother and you just want to be able to get into the water and enjoy being in the water with your children. And you'll be happy with that point and happy with heads up breaststroke. If you then want to take it further, then you need to look at probably coaching. One-to-one tends to be best. But yeah, if you want to build confidence, what I've just mentioned, taking it step by step, doing it with a friend, will probably be the best way forward with that one. So thank you for that question. Hopefully that helps you and gives you some ideas of things and bits and pieces you can be doing. And this one was from Tamsin. Tamsin's asked, when starting in deep water and open water, what's the best way to start? Okay, cool. So, open water swim starts. Now, there's numerous different events. Some allow you to dive in off of a jetty, some start from the shoreline. I've seen triathletes start from the shoreline, you run into the water. But many have what is classed as a deep water start. So what a lot of people will do is they will start in the water like this. So head's here, legs are underneath the water. They'll tread water, and then when the klaxon goes, the gun goes, or the whistle goes, they'll go from that position, get into that position, and swim. The most effective way of starting, doing a deep water start in open water, is to get yourself into a flat position in the water. So you don't want your legs to be below you and treading water like that, because not only have you then got to get yourself into the right position, you've then got to get yourself moving. So if you practice laying flat in the water, sculling with your legs behind you, so imagine here's your legs, so you're sculling with your hands at the front, your legs are behind you, they're slowly kicking, but keeping yourself in one place. So when that klaxon goes, what I would suggest is, they'll give you a, right, everybody's ready, start increasing the speed of your legs behind you. Now, a lot of triathletes won't use their legs. I don't agree with that, but that's entirely personal choice. But particularly great for giving you a little bit of a boost at the beginning of your swim. So if you can be laying flat in the water, sculling, head chin on the water, and starting your legs kicking just before that klaxon, building your kick up to a quick start, you then are in a position where there's going to be very little drag for you to start, and you'll get up to race pace far quicker. You can do different variations of this. So it'll be how I've coached people on this in the past is, in the swimming pool, they'll all get into that position, and I'll go ready, 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 go. So there's 3 readies. Each ready, they increase the speed of their kick. So ready, start kicking, ready, kick faster, ready, kick as fast as you can, go, boom, straight into the swim. So it's ready, 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 go, straight into your swim, and you can practice that in the pool. It's great for starting off 25-metre sprints. Ooh, the dreaded word is sprint for triathlon. But yeah, it's great to start off your 25-metre sprints, get yourself into a flat position, start kicking your legs, keeping yourself in one position by sculling, kick your legs faster, and then on the go, boom, you're straight into swim speed. Now, if you are a proficient swimmer, and something that I have done in the past, being for the last 7 years a overweight gentleman and tippling in open water swimming and triathlon in the past, I have found that when I get to the start line, people look at me, at least this is what's going on in my head, and go, what is that fat doing? And I get barged at the beginning. So if you want to clear a bit of a space for yourself, you are a proficient swimmer and you can swim all 4 strokes, start the same way, but go straight into butterfly and clear your competition out. It's not necessarily sportsmanlike, but sometimes it's needed. And to be honest, starting off with 3 or 4 fly strokes can get you up to speed far quicker than starting with front crawl as well. So there are benefits to it from a speed point of view. Going to 3 or 4 fly strokes, it'll get you up to speed far quicker and clear a few of the unwanteds out of the way as well. So thank you very much, Tamsin, for that questions. That was all about deep water starts. Best way to go about deep water starts. That, in my opinion, you'd be hard pressed to find a better way. I had a question about goggles. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 types of goggles here. Now Andy, a guy that I've worked with in the past, and a little bit of coaching with, Andy asked me what are the best types of goggles to use when you're swimming. Now, this again is a very personal answer. People like different types of goggles. I have used a particular type of goggles for the past, how old have I now? 30. So since I was 9, so we're going on 21 years now, I have used a particular pair of goggles, and they are these Speedo speed sockets. Now, I swear by these. I love these goggles because they are tinted, so if it is bright, they are brilliant for sort of keeping the sun out of your eyes. They sit on the inside of your eye socket, so you get a really secure seal. I've never had a pair of these leak. The advantage of these during an open water swim is, with arms going everywhere, if you do get hit in the head, they're really, really unlikely to come off. They really do the job. The strap's easily adjusted, they're secure as anything, and the nose piece is adjustable. Now, having a large nose, when I was a kid, I had massive problems with different types of goggles rubbing into my nose, to the point where, I don't know whether you can see, but I've got a scar on the top of my nose. As much as I would love to say that was through getting in a fight, that's down to goggles pushing on my nose bridge. So with these Speedo speed sockets, they go on easily. I can demonstrate to you here now. I can pop them on and they don't pop out from that point. So that's without putting the strap around the back of my head. They sit really nicely in the eye socket, and when I pop them on my head, they're streamlined as now. If I'm swimming along and anybody catches me in the face or anybody hits me, they're not coming off. They're really, really secure. I look like a bit of a tit wearing them on here, but they're really, really secure as a pair of swim goggles. If you're serious about your swimming, you're serious about zoning in, whether it's open water triathlon or pool swimming, Google Speedo speed sockets. By far, in my opinion, I've swum for donkey's years, these are the best goggles you'll find. There are other types of goggles on the market, so you can get ones that I personally would only use for snorkeling, but you get types of goggles like this. These particular pair are from Zone 3. Now, yes, a lot of people will go, well, I want to see everywhere when I'm open water swimming competitively or in a triathlon race. To be honest, the only thing you should be looking at is your next buoy or the finish line. So why you want 360-degree ability to be able to see in the water is beyond me. The thing I have with this type of goggle is, again, if you're swimming and you're in a large race and you're in the washing machine, if somebody hits you in the side of the head, these bad boys are coming off. You're going to lose them, it's going to wreck your race. That's where the speed sockets are far superior. They're smaller, they're stuck to your eyeballs, they ain't going nowhere. I've always found the seals on these are terrible as well. So if I pop these on, I don't even think I've ever worn these, they've still got the thing on the front. So straight away, I mean, I can push them onto my head and get a bit of a seal going on. But as soon as I'm swimming along in the water can get underneath these flaps, which lift the goggles off. Somebody hits me, you can see straight away, I mean, I'm hardly putting any pressure into that. They're moving and they're going all over the shop. I would say these are great for recreational swimming, they really are. You can go swimming with these, pop them on, swim about, wonderful. If you're a triathlete, you're taking things seriously. If you're an open water swimmer, you're taking things seriously. Personally, and once again, this is just personal recommendation, I wouldn't go with these. They're great for recreational swimming, but anything that looks like a snorkel mask isn't designed for racing open water or in the pool. I definitely wouldn't have them anywhere near the swimming pool. So, yeah, great for recreation. Zone 3 do a pair, as I think Zogs have got some as well. But, yeah, if you're going to take things seriously, don't bother with them. There's another type of goggle. Again, these ones are from, I think, no, these ones are TYR. So these ones aren't too bad. A lot of people don't like the goggles, so on the speed sockets they sit on the inside of your eye socket. A lot of people don't like them on the inside of the socket, it gives them headaches. These ones sit just sort of, they still sit within the socket, but they sit slightly outside. Now the suction on these aren't too bad. And they're not a bad goggle at all. Again, because they're a bit chunky, you probably could find that they're going to come off quite easy, but the nose bridge on these are quite nice. The suction on these, again, isn't, or the seal isn't quite as good as the speed sockets, but it's far superior to the swim mask, is the only way I can describe it. So, they're not too bad. I mean, they're cheaper, they'll cost far less money than these. These retail, if you're lucky, at $19.99, but anything up to 30 quid. Probably pick a pair of these up for around a tenner. And they're good for the money. They do the job. You do get a seal on them. If you do like to be able to see a little bit more when you're swimming along, you've definitely got that as well. I still personally, if I'd given a choice, would go with the speed sockets, but something this shape would be spot on. What I would say is look for something that's got a soft nose bridge. Don't want to go with a hard nose bridge on it. And something that's got decent straps at the back. The last thing you want is them going anywhere. So, Andy, I know I've already responded to you because you wanted an instant response, but hopefully that answers why I suggested those ones. I hope you're getting on with them nicely because I know you have purchased a pair. And yeah, that's my sort of little input into swimming goggles. The next thing I will come on to is these little bad boys. So these are hand paddles. Now somebody asked me about the different sizes and exactly what you use hand paddles for, and they were told that if you're a triathlete, you don't want the small ones. The small ones aren't designed for triathletes. A little bit of schooling for you. So, hand paddles come in different sizes because it's like different weights in regards to how much they weigh. Hand paddles work in a very similar way. So, the bigger the hand paddle, the higher the resistance, so the more of a workout you're going to get. So, if you're a triathlete, you're new to triathlon, and swimming isn't your strong point, go with the small ones. Don't listen to the Muppet in the lane next to you that looks like he's dying a death with his massive hand paddles on because they're the ones for triathletes. These are designed to be progressive. So, even when I was swimming competitively and I was doing sub 52 for 100-meter freestyle, I very rarely used the large hand paddles. These were more than enough. They will help you improve swim-specific strength, and starting off on these ones will be more than enough of a challenge. When these get easier, I'd recommend moving up to the medium ones and then use the larger hand paddles for smaller sets. I don't advise you using the big hand paddles for extended periods of time. They are a great training tool if they're used effectively enough. If you're being asked to use really large hand paddles over extended period of time, question your coach over it. It's not beneficial. It's not going to be the best thing for you, to the point where I'd probably say that it could be detrimental if you're using the really large hand pedals for extended periods of time. These ones are more than adequate. It will increase the resistance on the water. It will make things more difficult and allow you to build a stronger stroke. Be careful with these. Now personally, again, I wouldn't use hand paddles to help improve technique. I would only use hand paddles to improve strength. If you've got a poor technique and you start using hand paddles, it's possibly going to make your technique worse. So these are, for personally, hand paddles are for people that are at the higher end of intermediate level to advanced in regards to swimming. If you're still developing your stroke and you're still trying to improve your stroke, use these as little as possible. Once you're at a point where you're like, you know what, I'm happy with my stroke's working for me, boom, go for it. Up until that point, avoid these until you've perfected things. So just to recap, the big ones aren't the best ones, the smaller ones are the best ones. They increase in size because they increase resistance. They make your training harder. They are a resistance tool. These are not a stroke improvement tool in regards to technique. Don't use them that way. And if you are a beginner swimmer, don't use them at all. Intermediate swimmer, bottom end, use as little as possible. Higher end of intermediate advanced swimmers, yeah, use them, go crazy with them. Use the larger ones as little as possible. They're beneficial, but not in large doses. So that is hand paddle. The next question I was asked was a child question. So in regards to baby swimming, and I was asked by a friend, what was there ever when should their child start being introduced to the water? I have a 10-month-old son, and we have only taken him to the swimming pool 3 times so far. Not because we don't want to, but mainly because of cost, to be honest. Now, in regards to when you should introduce your child to the water, you can do it at any point. It's advised to wait for them to have their injections. So I personally am going to go with that. I would advise wait for them to have their injections just to be on the safe side. Once they've had their injection, boom, now it's finding a swimming pool. So you want to look for a suitable pool. Ideally, you're looking for a pool that's warm, so 32 degrees plus. Anything less than that, then you want to keep them in for as short a period of time as possible. So finding the right pool is really, really important. Now, the question that came with how early can I take my child swimming was, what should I do with them? So what we've done with my little lad particularly is we've done a lot of stuff in the bath. So he is really confident in the water. He's not scared of the water, so when we have bath time, I will frequently fill the bath up to a point where it's deep enough for him to sort of float. And I'll put my hands on the back of his head, so I'll submerge the back of his head into the water, get his ears wet. And he loves it, and he kicks his legs, and he splashes his hands around, and he really, really enjoys it. And that's gone a long way to improving his confidence within the water. To the point where I'm 100% confident when we go on holiday that he's going to be jumping in and out of the pool with no problem whatsoever. I'm pretty sure at the end of our 2-week holiday that he'd have just turned 1 by this point, my 1-year-old boy will be able to float in the water, get to the side of the pool and climb out. That's how confident I am in it. So with your own children, start off with little things in the bath. So do it regularly. Get them used to water being over their face. Get them used to their head being in the water. Support their head. Let them support their own body and float their own body, because that's really, really important. If you go to a swimming pool with them, have fun. See, I'm in two minds when it comes down to things like water babies. They're great for socialising and doing the activities together with other mums or dads, and they create a fun environment. Is it stuff you could do without an instructor and teach yourself? Yes. You could save yourself, I mean, the least I've heard being charged is something like £18 per hour. You could save yourself a lot of money, YouTube it, teach yourself to do it, and do it effectively and confidently. If you're going to go down that route, make sure that you understand it. If you're unsure, don't do it. Just go into the pool with your kid and have fun and splash around. I wouldn't advise doing any of the submersion stuff. It's a bone of contention. I think the submersion stuff is good. It's great if it's done in the right way. It isn't always done in the right way. It varies from teacher to teacher. It's the same in any profession. So just be wary of the submersion stuff. If you're going to look at anything paid for and taught, I would look at infant self-rescue. There was, and I can't for the life of me remember the lady's name, but there was something on this morning about a month ago, and I'm sure it was the Water Babies director and a lady who had gone to America to learn infant self-rescue, and the Water Babies were disagreeing with it, and personally, if I was presented with Water Babies lesson or Water Babies or infant self-rescue, I'd go with infant self-rescue any day of the week. Infant self-rescue is really, really interesting. I'm not going to go into it to depth. I've taught it myself and had amazing results with it. It's far more beneficial. It teaches your child to be safe within the water at an early age. It's not foolproof, so just because you've gone along to infant self-rescue doesn't mean your child is going to never be able to drown. There's still that possibility, but it reduces that risk. I had a child that I taught, going back 3 or 4 years now, and he wasn't much older than a year, and I followed the infant self-rescue structure, and within a month he would jump into the pool, come back up, lay on his back and kick his legs and swim to the side of the pool. And by the end of month 2, for and giggles, he would start this as just shy of I think it was a 15-metre pool. He'd jump in at the deep end with me next to him, roll onto his back, kick his legs, do a whole length on his back and climb out again. This kid, it only just learned to walk. And that for me is far more powerful. He got the submersion because he enjoyed being under the water. He had no issue with being under the water. That was he was confident there. So sort of coming back to the original question, look what's out there first. Don't just go for the commercial stuff. If you can find infant self-rescue taught by a reputable person, do infant self-rescue. Infant self-rescue is phenomenal if it's taught in the right way. Water Babies is great. It's good fun for a social, and it does teach them skills. I just think that infant self-rescue is far, far superior. So, if, after injection, go swimming, find a pool that's warm enough, and if you're going to go down the taunt lessons, try and find infant self-rescue type stuff. over anything else. A lot of the water babies stuff, a lot of the puddle duck stuff, you can actually teach yourself. In actual fact, if you Google, it's an Australian company, don't mix it up with the open water company. If you Google You Swim Babies Australia, there's a lot of resources on there that are far superior to anything else in the UK at the moment. So yeah, search for You Swim Babies Australia. There's loads of information if you want to teach it yourself. Mr. Hughes, good evening. There's loads of information on there for you to view. So yeah, when they've had their injections, get them used to the water in the bath. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you can look for swimming lessons, go with Infant Self-Rescue over anything else, but make sure it's a reputable person teaching it. Mr. Hughes, have you got any questions? I know you are trying to improve your swimming, so here is your opportunity to post a question before I sign off in 5 minutes. As I was saying, guys, if you're watching this video back, thank you for watching it back. If you're looking for free swimming coaching, make sure you look for the Chatty Chap on YouTube, and then go with the Chatty Chap Does. I've got another one, Chatty Chap Tech and Entertainment. Obviously, that's nothing to do with swimming. So if you go to Chatty Chap Does, subscribe to the channel, and then you will, if I'm doing any coaching events, you'll know well in advance, and you will be able to attend them for free. I'm not going to charge for coaching. I don't want to charge for coaching. Swimming is a passion, and I don't want it to be a job. I've got my day job. Happy with that. Another question I was going to touch on for competitive swimmers, age group swimmers. It had a parent ask me, how often should their child be swimming? Now, this is a bone of contention, and a lot of coaches... In the swimming world, you'll either have people that will agree with me, and I think that would be in the small minority at the moment, and people that would strongly disagree. When it comes down to competitive age group swimmers, do they need to be training 4 hours a day? So 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening? In my opinion, no. I think it's far too much. And they're not going to be giving 100% every single session anyway. So to be honest, probably around 50% of those sessions are an absolute waste of time because they don't want to be there. Going from my own experience as an age group swimmer, my dad used to coach me up until a point, and then when he stopped coaching me and started allowing me to make my choices, that's when my swimming improved. So you need to have a conversation with your kids, and you need to ask them how they feel about their swimming. The last thing you want to do is put them off. So 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening for a swimmer from 9 to 16 is a lot of pool time. And as I said earlier, 50% of that's going to be quality training. The other 50% is going to be a waste of time. Encourage them to get involved in other sports. It all has a crossover, so they could be doing running, they could be doing hockey. Dancing is a great cross-training sport for swimmers. It really, really improves core strength, which is imperative for competitive swimmers. So, age group swimmers don't need to be in the pool every hour of every day. They need to be doing quality sessions that they are invested in. If they're not invested in it, it's not going to be a quality session, it's going to be a waste of everybody's time. Get them to do cross training, so get them involved in other sports, because it's only going to benefit their swimming, it's going to give them variety, and they're not going to get bored. And listen to them. The coach doesn't always know best. And I include myself in that. I don't always know best. I would never force a kid to get in the water and tell an age group swimmer, you have to swim. If you don't swim, I'm dropping you from the team. That's a load of rubbish. So age group swimmers should swim as much as they need to swim, as much as they want to swim. It should be enjoyable, it should be specific, and they should only, in the sessions they turn up to, they should be invested in. So if they're not invested in it, they shouldn't be there. So yeah. Anyway, I've got a question from Dave, so let me get a bit closer to the screen. Actually, Richard, what can I do at the end of my swim to help my transition smooth onto the bike? I get lightheaded and dizzy after a big swim. This is an interesting one. So there's probably a couple of reasons why you're lightheaded and dizzy. So when you exit the water, suddenly you're going from what is technically a lying position to a standing position very, very quickly, and you do that even quicker because you're wanting to sort of race to your bike. So you're gonna get dizzy quicker doing that, especially if you go straight from that to that really, really quickly. Maybe something that's helped me in the past when I used to do aquathlons is when I exit the water to sort of rise slowly, so run in a sort of slightly crouched position, get your breath and slowly raise up and control your breathing during that period of time. That will be beneficial. I think it's something that that could be a case of trying to get used to. But definitely when you're coming out of the water, rising slower. So still moving forward, but rising slower will help. There's going to be water in your ear, so you're going to have balance issues there anyway. Try and focus on a stationary object, so whether it's a tree that's ahead of you as you're running out of transition, focus on that and keep that as a point, because you've got to bear in mind that you've gone from this in the water to a very sturdy position. So focus on that. Get fluids into as quickly as possible. Depending on how long your swim is, you could be slightly dehydrated as well. Make sure you're fueled before you get on that bike. Swimming takes a lot out of you, particularly if you're not an overly proficient swimmer. So I would advise a drink. Something with a bit of juice in it might help as well, because your sugars are going to have dropped. Definitely get a good drink in you before you get off on that bike. And just focus. Don't focus on the dizziness, focus on a still object in front of you. That's the best advice I can give with that. I mean, I still get dizzy when I get out of the water, especially if I haven't been in for a period of time. I think it's just focusing and making sure that you're not rising too quickly when you get out of the water. It's exactly the same principle as if you're from lying down in bed to sitting up quickly, you're going to become dizzy. It's exactly the same when you come out of the water. Keep yourself low, so keep yourself crouched as you're coming out of the water, and slowly bring yourself up into your natural position when you're running. Probably be the best way to get over that, Dave. If you've got any other questions, mate, feel free to send me a private message. I'm more than happy to answer that. But I'm going to end the live stream there, guys. On this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just search The Chatty Chap. It'll come up with two channels, The Chatty Chap Tech and Entertainment and The Chatty Chap Does. Subscribe to The Chatty Chap Does. If you're subscribed to that, as soon as I start announcing where and when I'm doing these coaching sessions, as long as you're a subscriber, it won't cost you a penny. Well, unless you're a subscriber, you won't be invited along and you won't be able to partake in a coaching session. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Keep an eye out for the sessions. A lot of them are going to be open water swimming during the summer period. And yeah, please share this video. I know it's an hour long now, or just over an hour long. And there wasn't much interaction from people, but I've got a few questions out there. I've answered a few questions. Hopefully that anybody who's watching back on this, that will help you out. And I will see you next time. I'm planning on doing another one of these in 2 weeks' time. So please share this, speak to people about it. 2 weeks' time, it'll be a Thursday again, 7:30 PM. Get involved, and yeah, see you on the other side.